Great one. Welcome to Clan Live Fan TV. My name is Callie Yorke. I'm joined this afternoon by John Strange and Phil Reilly. How are you doing, guys? All right?
All right. Dear Cal.
All good, Callie. Thanks for having us on.
Good. Are you taking a wee break from your work this afternoon?
Yeah, I never take a break from work, Callie. Always on the go. Always get time for you, though.
Oh, brilliant. Well, that's a good start to the interview. What about yourself, Phil?
I'm the exact same. Never stop 24/7. This is a strange thing for me, but something I've been looking forward to, actually.
No, brilliant. No, I'm really pleased you guys have taken time to come on. It's really great to have you both on today. Yeah, let's maybe start with your backgrounds, because, John, you always see you on LinkedIn all the time and you're on social media a lot. Phil, I don't really know so much about yourself. So maybe if you want to just tell us a wee bit about your background, and maybe your business background, and how you've sort of came to be part of the clan over the years. Start with yourself, Phil.
Okay. You'll see John everywhere. John is the front face of everything, but I'm the quiet one until I start talking to people, that is. But I've had my own business now for 24 years, and you've seen it on ice the last few years, consultative services. And then this year we brought our other company in, CLS Fabrication. And into the ice hockey was a sort of strange one. My son took us to a Tampa Bay Lightning game many years ago, and so this is okay. And then my daughter became a bit into the game, and we went to another Tampa Bay game, and we thought, this is better than okay, this is great. So then we came back, and suddenly we went and a wee bit of sponsorship with the clan, and then it just grew to the point now we've got a ice hockey family. And my son made a comment to my wife the other day there, you were never ever on your phone now, you're never ever off your phone, and it's all ice hockey related. And that's the way my whole family is. I say my daughter up through the night watching games, etc. It's a family thing for us, and that's what we love about sport. It's a family orientated sport, and it does away with a lot of the divides that we have in the west of Scotland, which is great as well. So that's what we love about it.
No, I totally agree, Phil. That's how I came about, was taking my family to a game. I was always a football man, but then one day, one of my pals said go to the game, and took my family, and I absolutely loved it. So I did. So I can actually exactly agree with what you're saying there. What about yourself, John? People probably know a wee bit about you, but give us a wee bit of background and your clan background as well.
Yeah, people will be sick of the sight of me. Those who have seen the videos will know my background in hockey was one of complete fluke, really. I was looking for an opportunity to sponsor something away from Celtic and Rangers and all that kind of stuff, and got invited along to a clan game. Took my wife and my two daughters along also. We had been at another sport in the city the night before, and we went to the clan on the Saturday night, and I said to Morgan and the girls, I said, right, if we're going to back one of these, which one should it be? And the hockey won 4-0. I think we got beat 5-2 that night. And I left the arena thinking, this is amazing. We've just been beat 5-2, and I loved every minute of it. What does it feel like when you actually win? And then that's when I started. I just got into the hockey that way, became a player sponsor, dasher board, and then everybody knows the COVID story, the title sponsorship and all that kind of stuff. But my background in business started a long time ago. I've kind of always been in property. I started off in the buy-to-let industry, and I bought and sold loads and loads of properties, kept a load of them as well, which I still rent out, and then started developing to sell and being involved in the construction industry in that sense of the word. And then I kind of fell, much like the hockey, I fell into the insurance world. There was a need for my expertise to be brought to the world of insurance claims, and Asprey was the perfect avenue for that, an already established franchise, if you like, and then my skill set and all the people that I knew just fitted in perfectly, and that's the main focus we've got just now. I'm still involved in property quite regularly. I do quite a lot in the property side of things, but that's the business background, if you like, and then everybody knows we're all over the ice, we're all over the jerseys, so yeah, that's that.
No, I mean, in terms of sponsorship, you guys have backed the club, through the bad times as well as the good times. So I think from the fans' point of view, as a thank you for you guys, especially during COVID when it's really difficult for a lot of businesses, and you gave that continued support. So that was absolutely fantastic. I mean, what I want to talk about, I mean, we've got a number of questions we're going to go over that fans have sent in around your back the bid, but probably what I want to know a wee bit about is that how did this bid come about? You know, we sort of, was it something you've been thinking about for a while, or was there certain events that triggered this? So I don't know which one of you guys want to take that one on.
I'll let John start.
You let me start, you'll not get a word in, Phil. So, if I'm honest with you, I had been thinking about a plan to take on the ownership of the clan for quite some time.
Okay.
And had started to work on that myself. And then through chatting to Phil, although he claims he's the quiet man, you kind of get him to stop talking once he starts. We had met a number of times and started to talk about, well, what would we do differently? How would we work things better, if you like? And we used to talk about it before, during, and after every game and at every social event, and that went on and on and on and on. And I suppose in my head, I had a 2 to 4 year structure in my mind as to how we were going to do this.
Okay.
And recent events have escalated that and brought it to the here and now, and we're here and we are now, and that's how it started, really.
No, great. What about yourself, Phil? What's your thoughts in terms of it?
Just like John had said there, we had spoke about it, and it was in the future. The two are very, very busy with our business, but recent events made us look at this, and there was also a lot of negative things going on with the club, and that really concerned us. And with various chats, etc., with other sponsors, and we've just seen everything going down fast, and we thought we need to do something here. So me and John had a chat within 24, 48 hours, move things up to the next level, because we've seen that if we didn't, we had a game coming up on the Saturday, and we thought, oh, this is so bad. So we need to do this, and we need to do this fast. So we didn't have a business plan as such to do this, or we did have it in our minds, but there was nothing doing, we'll do this in the year 2022. It just get brought up, and we thought we need to move fast on it. Let's not sit back, because the fans need it, the club needs it. And we did do it. And some people have sort of questioned why we communicate so much with the fans, because we felt that's what the fans wanted. And even though, as you say, I'm the quiet man, as I say, apart from what John says, but we thought we need to keep everybody in the loop and give some positive back, because that week was so negative, and we needed positive to be out there. And I think it worked. And the general feedback that we got was it did work. Thanks very much for it. It shows commitment. I think so. That was the reason that we sort of jumped onto it and thought, no, let's do this now.
I think controversially, I might as well throw it out there. Phil's referring to there's a good number of hockey podcasts that are out there, and one of them recently was less than complimentary about Phil and I, and suggested that we were amateurs and that we should do all the work in the background and whatnot. But that's fine. That's their opinion. That's up to them. The one massive thing the fans were screaming out for was transparency and communication. So as amateurish as it may have looked to some, I think the fans that matter knew exactly what we were attempting to do and the reason why we were able to put some stuff out on Twitter. Now, that was 1 or 2 posts we've put out with some information. Phil and I speak every day, at length every day. We have had tons of meetings with various people about doing this. So there is a lot of stuff going on in the background that we're not telling everyone about.
Yes.
So we just felt we had to maintain a level of communication with the fans and the fan base so that they knew that we weren't just 2 guys that decided, oh, let's go and buy a hockey club. You know, we are serious about this.
Yeah. I mean, one of my biggest gripes in business is communication, and generally, I remember somebody once telling me that you can generally measure somebody by how quickly they reply to your email or communicate with you. If somebody ignores your email or ignores a business meeting, you can tell a lot by a person like that as well. So communication, I think, is absolutely key, and it's one of the areas we get a lot of questions in. Let's kick off with the questions from the fans. And I want to start talking about, we started talked about how the bid was coming about there. Let's talk a wee bit about the bid. So first question we've got in here is from Alan, and Alan asks, are there any other sponsors involved in the bid other than John and Phil?
Just now, it's myself and John.
Okay.
And the way we looked at it was we know that we have opportunities to bring other people in, but until we get to a certain stage, we thought let's keep it tight with ourselves because we don't want to waste a lot of people's times on it. But essentially, right now, it's just myself and John that's involved in it. But we do have plans for other things in the future.
Great. I mean, that was a second question from Ruben the dog. You've been inviting other fans' business to invest in the future.
I think Phil said the other night, I need to see this Ruben the dog and how this Ruben the dog can type. That's amazing. I need to see this.
And can I also say that we are a family-friendly supporter and pets come first.
If Ruben wants a meeting with us, Ruben the dog, I speak fluent Yorkshire Terrier, so it's not a problem. I think just to elaborate on what Phil was saying, there is a lot of interest around the club, and we decided that just to push things on, it would just be the two of us. But we do have various other people who are showing an interest and who are committed at some stage once we get the platform and the bid solidified, if you like, and go to the next stage of due diligence, etc. But so there are other people that will be getting brought in regarding the fans, which you mentioned, Callie. You know, at this stage of the game, we're not looking at a fan takeover, as in everyone fan takeover. But we would be remiss not to say that, number one, the fans are the lifeblood of the club. So an involvement from them at some stage and in some way is inevitable. But what that looks like at the moment is probably for further down the line. I think stability and security at the moment is what's required.
Yeah, I think also sometimes too many cooks spoil the broth, don't they? You want to probably be able to be in a position to negotiate, and then once you hopefully takes ownership of the club, then you can look at other avenues. And for Forsyth Sevens asking there, if we do have other investors in the future, will they be made public knowledge to the fan base?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's pretty clear on that.
I stood there and done a video message and used the word transparency. So it'd be rather hypocritical of me to say that and then to keep someone hidden in the background. If someone wants to be an investor, you know, we've had some interest from North America and stuff like that, then they have to be visible and there physically to be part of this. There's no point in having a big, massive group of unknown people involved in it because, like you say, too many cooks.
Yeah, I think there's also a locality thing. I mean, I was involved with a buyout over 4 years of Ayr United, and it was a foreign owner who lived in America, and the fans had an issue that the guy didn't live in the UK, and he was basically away quite a lot and didn't really see what was happening around the club. So I think we've had experience as fans. We get frustrated that they wanted somebody local. We've got a local businessman who's taken over the club, and he's brought in a lot of really good people around him, and the club's now challenging at the top of the league. So it's not to say you're guaranteed success, but I think sometimes if you bring in the right structure and the right people and the right culture, you can get success. I mean, moving on to another question. This is from Jackson Crazy Daisy. I mean, how long potentially could a takeover of the Clan Arena take? You know, are we talking weeks, months? How long?
On that one, unfortunately, we don't control this journey. We rely on, as you know, processes to be in place and a lot of information to be passed. Our view is we need to have certain documents, etc., in our possession to move it forward. But our view isn't to draw this out as long as possible. It's the opposite, to get it over the line as quick as possible, but doing it in a diligent way, because we need to make sure that we do things right for the club and the arena here.
Yeah.
So we'll do it as
long term.
as we can.
It's a long-term strategy that we've got, but it could happen. It could happen quite quickly, or it might take till, say, the start of next season potentially. Yeah. But we're working on it every day. So every day that goes by is another day closer.
Yeah. And that flows on to the next question from Voogie. It says, have you already had a full overview of the accounts, able to create a business plan at this stage? And again, Voogie says, I hope it does go through and he backs the bid.
Yeah, so I think on that question, for legal reasons, we can't really say too much about what we have and have not seen as it stands. As far as creating a business plan goes, we're working on that on a daily basis with the information that we've got.
Makes sense. I mean, there's another question similar here, which will probably be the same answer. We've talked about there isn't other investors at this moment in time, but there may be in the future. Is it? And you've answered that question. Is this based on emotion or a business plan for profitability and sustainability?
This is based on a bit of both of that. The emotion is, yes, we love the club, but a business plan first and foremost, because it is a business. And as John said in a previous statement, the more success we can bring to the arena, the more success we can bring to the clan. So, but it's got to be operated as a business, and stability is first and foremost.
Yep. I've just listened to Dave, Callie, I've just listened to a podcast with Christian Horner, the team principal of Red Bull Racing. And
yes.
he said, if you're not passionate about what you do, don't do it. And, and I couldn't agree more. And he's 100%. A rather successful team principal. So
yeah. I mean, I'm throwing a lot of questions out here, but I'm just being transparent because the fans have asked the questions. This is a similar one. It's probably going to be, you probably have answered this already, but there may be some debt there, after COVID. Will that reflect the asking price? Again, you're probably in negotiations with these guys. You probably can't say too much.
Yeah, unfortunately, no, we can't really say anything on that as it stands at the moment, sadly.
Okay, so we've had a chat there about the bid, and what we want to probably have a wee chat now is about the talk so far, or as much as you can tell us about the talk so far, because there's obviously, again, confidential stuff in there. So Claire's asking you, how often have you had the discussions? What timescales may be involved? Have you spoken to any other clubs, owners for advice or guidance?
Discussions with Neil have been actually every week, and that's a good thing. Neil has started these chats with us and is moving things on. For, again, timescales we touched on earlier, we can't put a time on it, but we will push it as to the quickest time we can, because we know it's got to be to meet everybody's expectations. That fans want us to do something, we'll do it as quick as we can. If we spoke to other club owners, there's been some brief chats, but not everything, because we don't want to waste people's times with things. We're concentrating on the bid first and foremost. What happens once we know we're at a certain point, then we start involving other people to have chats with.
Some of the other owners have sort of reached out and made contact, and we will be speaking to them at length as time goes on. They are aware of it and so far seem to be supportive of it.
Great. One of the Picks has asked a question here. Have you had any major problems yet, or is things going as we would have planned so far?
Yes, it's not happened right now, this very second. That's the major problem.
Yeah, so it's going to take a bit of time, but as we say, we will get there, I'm sure in the end with this. Going to move on now to the vision. I think it's important when you're looking at anything like this, you have a vision in place where you want the club to go to. So we've got a number of questions on this. I mean, first question has come up from George Rennick, and he says, fully behind this, guys. I'm interested in what your short, first year, mid to 5 years, and longer term 5 year plus plans would be. Good luck with the bid. So any comments there around what George is saying?
This, I think that's a great question, actually. And it made us think a bit about it, but initially, as we touched on earlier, first and foremost, get it over the line. But then me and John would be more than happy to have a chat, and that'd be something I'm sure we'd happily do in the arena, where everybody say, here's our 5 year plan here. Year 1, 2, 3, 4, a business plan, because we want to keep everybody in the loop what we're doing. And that's going to, we take a bit of advice and probably a Q&A, say, well, what would you like? And then we can say, well, that's doable, that's not doable. But what do we do in the meantime? Well, there's a lot of work to be done. We've got a few things that need sorted out first and foremost, and then we grow the plans for the growth moving forward. And I think that's a good thing for the fans as well, because they can see a business plan rather than we don't know what's happening next year. So we put that out there to them. And I'm sure John will be more than happy to answer every question in the stadium.
So is that you offering up my services to be the one that presents the 5 year business plan? Thanks for that.
Yes, that's it.
Thanks for that.
Well, gosh, this one, John, when are you going to get the Clan winning the league?
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. If it was me, it'd be right this very second. No, I think previous question and this question, I'll roll it into one.
Yeah.
The short-term strategy is stability. We have to pretty much build from the bottom up. Again, clearly things are not going well. That's plain to see. So we need to build from scratch again. We need to start with proper foundations, proper stability, and then move forward. But yes, this is a passion project, but we are also businessmen who have a business brain and a business mind as well.
Yeah.
So the medium to long-term strategy, like anything in sport, is winning.
Yeah.
So there is, as much as I enjoyed getting beat 5-2 on my first ever game, I don't want that to become a habit. I think we need to be competing with the top teams in the league, and I just don't see how that can't be achievable in a medium longish term if the right people are in place and the right strategy and the right atmosphere, and if everyone, fans included, feel like they play a small part in the overall vision to make the Clan a winning team, the buzz about the place will just be infectious, and that'll transfer onto the players as well. And I'm a big sports psychology type guy as well. I love all that kind of stuff. So I think
I mean, I think the frustration for me as a fan, guys, has really been, we have such an opportunity in Glasgow to create something really big. You look at what's created in Belfast and Cardiff. There's no reason why we can't replicate that in Glasgow with the right people in charge and the right structure in place. And I'm sure there's other sponsors who we get involved as well, in terms of taking that forward, with the right vision there. So I'm totally on board with what you're saying there. So there's I suppose another one about goals and ambitions. Phil, any immediate changes you would like to push forward if you were to take over? Or is it just too early to look at that? It's about getting this bid over the line, first of all.
It's a bit early to look at it, but it's it would be part of our sort of business plan. Here's what we plan to do immediately. But I don't want to keep saying the same word, stability and all that, but that's what we need first, and put a sort of first year in. Here's what we're going to do to push it forwards. Hopefully, the world's getting back to some sort of normality. We thought we had a Brexit gave us the problem, then we had a pandemic, and then we've got a war in Ukraine. Hopefully, everything comes in threes. Well, I hope that's the third and that's the end of it. So we move forward with things. And the long-term ambition is success. And as you rightly says, Callie, in Scotland, we are a special breed of people that we are passionate about everything we do. And there's nothing to stop us going up there to the top. Nothing. And especially we're in a sport that is maybe not known as well as it should be, but we can see the passion. They say the Purple Army are phenomenal. We talk about the Tartan Army and say, come to the arena and you'll see the Purple Army, and everybody praises them. And if we can get that out there, more marketing, and more things for our press to show a bit more about it. Unfortunately, the press only picked up in the negative. You don't see them picking up anything positive about sports. So we can get that out there, and there's some good guys for doing that. I could see that arena being filled, no problem.
That's part of the strategy and the plan as well, as the mainstream media who have been ignoring hockey for far too long. Well, that stops the day we take over, because I'll be on at them every minute of every day that they need to give us more coverage. And both Phil and I have a winning mentality and strive to be the best. I have no doubt Phil's the best at what he does. I class myself as the best at what I do, and that's what I strive for every day, is to be better. So if we can put that approach into the ownership and the structure of the club, all members of staff, everyone that works for us from whichever hierarchical tier that they come in, will all have the same vision and the same feeling and the same pride and passion for making the club a success. And that, that's how it is. It's a winning mentality. You have to want to win.
Yeah, I mean, I look at other clubs like Cardiff, Belfast, and I see a lot of stuff on Twitter from their local press and even BBC. They're getting a lot of coverage, maybe because they're winning quite a lot. But I think there's certainly things we can push in there more to try and to do that. Here's a question for you, John. Can we get some ex-NHLers in here again? And can we get some proper coffee in the arena? Or do we just produce better coffee in the arena so nobody has to go to McDonald's or Costa?
That's a two-part question. So as far as ex-NHLers, I don't see why not. I think what we have to do is make the product an attractive one for players coming in, and that's players, management, coaches, whatever. It has to be an attractive proposition, which is why the concept of us taking over everything, including the arena, it means that we can put together a phenomenally attractive looking place to be and be part of. So I don't see why some of the best available players can't come and want to come and play for us. As far as proper coffee goes, yes, I am coffee daft. So I would rather have proper coffee. I don't know if McDonald's or Costa would be coming into the arena as such, because they're literally just right outside, but available coffee within the arena, I would rather was better than it currently is.
Right. I've got another couple of questions on this topic. So, Phil, let me ask you this one. Can you see us putting together a team that can challenge at the top of the leaderboard? I think you've really answered that already.
Yeah, I have answered, but yes, we can. You're confident we can do that. And that's, at the end of the day, I know a lot of people say everybody says that. But that's where our passion comes. At the end of the day, we're not getting in this to say we'll sit in the middle of the league for a few years. No, we want to push the top. The more success we can push the business, the more success we can push the team.
Yeah. Right, no.
That's what I said on, sorry, Callie, that's one of the things we released recently, the debate over whether we were going for the club and or the arena.
Yes.
And I think we put it in a sentence that was along the lines of a successful and profitable arena will automatically mean a more successful and profitable hockey club. And if both are owned and operated by the same people, as in us, then it means that the hockey club will, fingers crossed, be successful. And it's that package, it's the whole product that's on the ice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't refer back to my local team here. They brought in new ownership. What the first thing they did was they built a hub there, with basically a community place where they've got a bar in there, they've got events going on during the week, and that's immediately bringing money into the club. And the club was there for years, never did that. You got a business guy coming in, like, we need to get more money in the club. How do we generate more income, revenue streams? They're now building a new stand, which is going to have hospitality, but also business networking in it. So it's good to get people like yourself, who business people are thinking, how do we generate extra income to bring into our club to make it better?
It's a fine balance between trying to squeeze more money out of people and having more money spent in the arena. Even if you look at the way things are just now, they've done a great job. Fair play to them. They've done a great job attempting to turn around the captain's bothy.
Yeah.
But it's still not got enough people in it after the game. Now, we've got a million ideas as to how that can improve, and we will hopefully get through that once we're successful. But it's about bringing people in beforehand and keeping people there afterwards. And if they're spending any money, given the current climate, they're spending it within the arena, within the club, and then that just gets reinvested back in to improve everything. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm hearing the £6 a pint. I don't drink there because I'm driving, but people are going to Witherspoons are here and getting £4 a pint. So surely these are kind of.
There's a guy on, is it Clan from the Stands podcast? Yeah. He's brilliant. I love him. I can't mind his name, but all he just keeps saying is £6 a pint, £6 a pint. So,
but he does have a point. If you were even £5 a pint, people would maybe stay behind and say, give that money to the club. But when you price yourself out of these kind of things, people are just going to walk. But we could create something after.
It's not just that. It is a fine balance because you go to venues, you can pay £6, £6.50 a pint. I get all that. It's about what else you're getting with that £6 a pint, and at the moment it's nothing.
Yes.
As I say, we've got ideas that I think, as do the current guys, Jerry, and that is about getting more attractive things in the arena afterwards for fan engagement. Fan engagement is what's more of needed, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, just finishing off the vision. I'm very big on this in terms of culture. I think it's an important point to any business or sporting organisation. What kind of culture would we expect to see as Clan fans if your bid is successful?
I think the Clan, as you say, we've already seen it. It's a family orientated, total inclusive setup, and we want to keep that going and growing that. And we want it so that, and the beauty what we do see in ice hockey now, you're going for very young children to very people my age, old people. we want to keep that going, but do as much we can so that it's a whole event. Now, one thing I touched on earlier is it went to Tampa Bay, and the atmosphere before the game, for hours and hours before the game, it's wound up to it, and we want that, but we also want to see a lot more activities for family going on during it, and it's great, as we say, there's the skaters coming on, etc. at halftime, but we want to grow in that so the family all feels, so the children are really, really enjoying it. And you say, but everybody's welcome to it, and that's what we want. People to come in from everywhere and feel this is a place where the whole family, there's something for everybody. As they say, we've got a bar, we get food, we get snacks, we get everything for the children.
Yeah.
We've got the greatest mascot in the planet. And I know we'll lead on to that question, but turn and say, when Clankus goes out, everybody just loves it. And I had a chat with somebody, and I don't know if you've seen this. We've got a horrible scenario now that Virgin's put out a Highland Q on a motorbike going up the Braes. He's away in the mountains, and says, there you go, Clangus is even getting out of there now. And I thought, no, that's no Clangus, that's a cousin. But that's what we want to say. We want to grow in that.
There's only one Clangus.
There's only one Clangus, yes.
And constantly, that during the whole game, it's an atmosphere. And as John touched on there, after the game, there's a atmosphere as well. Now, I know that obviously people with children don't want to hang around too much, but it's trying to keep something for everybody. Before the game, maybe even open up a bit earlier, various things going on. And I don't think at the outset we can include the players before a game because they're in a zone then. But after the game we can, but before it we can have lots of different things going on. That's what, as John says, we'll get loads of ideas, but it's a sport for everybody. That's what you want to feel. It is.
I think the culture's taken a bit of a kicking recently, and we need to make sure that we don't forget what the culture was like before this incident happened, and we need to build on that because the culture. That's why I'm here. I fell in love with the whole thing, with the hockey, with the fans, with the behaviour, with everyone. I fell in love with the whole thing, the inclusivity of it all. You know, Phil and I are both in business. Yourself, Callie, you go to corporate events, you bring along guests, this, that, and the next thing. There is nothing quite like bringing all shapes and sizes and ages and whatever along to the hockey. Everyone loves it because of the culture, and that's hurting at the moment. And I can feel it, and I am not as entrenched in the culture as some of the fans are. And I can see it and I can feel it. And we have to bring that back again. And we have to make it a place that everyone is proud to be at and proud to be part of. You want people to be throwing the name back out there again and being proud to talk about the clan rather than,
Yeah, I mean, moving on, I totally agree. Moving on, it links in quite nicely. I mean, we've got a lot of good staff at the clan. We've got the OSC that do a great job, a lot of volunteers that do great work as well. And I probably just want to talk about structure now. So, Phil, if the takeover is successful, how would you structure that club management? Andy's asking, would there be big changes in that area?
We feel that we need to obviously add to the management structure. Just now, say the guys in there have worked very, very hard and through a very, very difficult couple of years, but we know we need to grow in that, and that's where our business minds come into it. It's the same as the two businesses that we operate here, John's businesses. You need to bring the right people in for the right job, and one person can't do everything. That's when you have burnout, and you lose track of somebody's skills if you're trying to get them to diversify into something else. So we will increase in the management, and we'll bring in the right people for it. That'll be the people that have got the skills and sometimes there's a fine balance of it you can, salary wise, etc. And that's what we need to look at into the whole business model that we put together. But we know that we need the right people in there to drive it forward. And that might be something that part of the business plan is in year 2, we bring in this person, year 3, this person. But it will be an increase in the management setup.
The structure will change considerably, I would say.
Yeah, and then coming on to that question, John, from John, I don't think this was you though that asked the question, but
it wasn't me.
You speak to yourself, are you?
I would have asked a question that's easier to answer than that one.
So again, it's going to be difficult to say with our confidentiality, but how would you answer that question?
Yeah, let me just be honest with you. There's only so much we can say, and with the greatest of respect to everyone involved and Neil Black, obviously, as well. I have spoken to every member of staff anyway, because I would speak to them anyway.
Yes.
And I have told them about what we plan to do. But as far as anything contractual or whatnot, I can't talk about that, unfortunately.
Fair enough. That's a fair point. Phil, this is a question from Shannon. So say the bid was successful. What are some of the first changes you would make within the club?
Transparency. As we say, right away, I'm not saying if we're successful, when we're successful, because we are the bid to back. But
Yes.
we would come right out and say, here's what we plan to do. In the first few weeks, this is what we plan to do here. As you say, dialogue with the fans to give them, right, okay, we're going to make some changes. You might not see a lot of things happening, but just as John touched on earlier, we're talking every day and say, here's what we're going to do. And we would also, I think it'd be a good idea for us to then have a Q&A and say, so we can build a bit of a chat and say, what would you like? Now, there'll be various things we've had, burgers, etc., things like that. And I do know the beauty of me and John being at the games, virtually every game, you hear people talking and all that, and they don't know who, well, they know who John is, they don't know him, but you're listening. And there's wee things like, say, kids' meals, things like that, wee toys and all that. So these are wee simple things that you can bring in right away to make the kids feel part of it. It's no mummy and daddy's night out, it's the family's night out. So you might do wee simple things initially, but it would be something that we speak to the fans, you say, and slight changes, but put out a sort of short-term plan of what we're going to do. But the first changes we would say, well, no, the first thing we would thank everybody for their help in getting us that bid over the line.
Yeah, I mean, I come back to what I said earlier. Communication is absolutely key here. I know the clan put a number of feedback areas around merchandise, etc., but never ever followed up on these things. So as someone as a business guy, it frustrates me. If you're going to put something out there, follow up on it. You know, it actually shows some quick wins of actually done this and this and this. It actually shows you're actually doing the things that people have asked. But the fan base out there, there's some really professional people out there, but there's people who have a lot of good ideas as well, no matter who they are, whether it be younger ones or older ones. There's some great ideas. If we can take that on board, I'm sure we can do things well going forward. So looking at your roles within this, when the bid is successful, John, it's an MD role similar to what you've got there. Would you guys both continue working within your businesses and the clan, or do you not know that yet?
So that's a great question, and it's one that we've spoke about. I think if you think about where Phil and I are in business at the moment, we're quite established and quite settled. Yeah. So I'm sure Phil would agree as well. And this brings us back to the culture within the club and the management structure and whatnot. Anyone that knows anything about me knows that my team are the most important part for me. Yeah. And that's because I've got really good people working in my business. Therefore, I can afford to not be in my current business 24/7. Yeah. So yes, I would take an extremely active role within the club. It's not just Phil and I and one or two others buying this club and taking the operation of the arena on, and then we just put a structure in place and then sit back and watch it happen. You know, we want it to be successful, and it's only going to be successful if we put together our brains and our passion and make it successful. So I will be actively involved as often as I can be in the running of the club. Yes, I'll still have my businesses and my other business interests and whatnot, but I'm here. I'm in the city. I'm in Glasgow. I'm part of the club, and I'm passionate about it. So yes, we will continue to run our other businesses, but this will be a massive, massive, massive part of what we do on a daily basis.
And come back to what you said earlier, Phil. You said, you know, it's about having that structure in place, but it's then having the right people in the right jobs that you trust can do a good job and that are key in that area. And that's how you drive things forward, because you can put that onus on that person to deliver in their particular role. You've got to have an overview of management overseeing that. But
that's how any business gets successful, by putting the right people in the right post at the right time, and then giving them the right support that they need. And that's what I think we will be able to do easily is give the support to, the director of hockey, the coach, the players, the food and beverage manager, the event manager, the person in charge of the arena, all the roles that are already required. We will make sure we give them the support that they need. And ultimately, you'll notice yourself, Callie, a lot of the time in business, it's a lack of decision making that causes the problems.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, you're looking at two people that are happy to make a decision like that if necessary.
It's
Yeah,
the one
it's
thing.
also-
So I was just going to go on with John says there. I'm a similar thing myself in businesses. People in my companies will tell you that I don't know half of how things work in here. And that's for a reason. I don't need to know them. They're the people that make my company tick. And I'll go and ask members of my team, how do I do this? How do I do that? And people think, oh, you should know. Oh, no, you can't know. That's the idea of having a team. And as they say, and it's supporting the team. And I've got a policy in here. If in doubt, ask. Never, ever guess, and never, ever feel that you can't ask a question. What you might think stupid is relative, and somebody else knows it. Nobody knows everything. So it's better as a team work together. And we put that down to an ice hockey team as well. Any team, it's a collective of people making it all work. No one person makes it work. So that's why we support the team that we put in place. And we're all there to make one thing success. And the more people that we can help each other with in doing that, well, that's what it is. It's a team effort.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of it again comes back to communication, and sometimes no matter what you do, people won't keep everybody happy all the time, no matter what you do in life, whether it be business or sport. But I think sometimes if you can also explain the decision you've made, it makes things a bit easier. We've made that decision because X, Y, or Z. Sometimes I know you can't do that, but and often if an explanation helps why you've made a decision as well. And talking about great people, the OSC, in my opinion, do a great job for the club. My company sponsors them and continues to sponsor them because they're really good folk, and they put a lot of hard time into their own time into making the club work better. So what role would you see the OSC having within this? I know the answer to this, but I'm just going to ask you the question going forward.
A big role.
Huge role.
Massive role. I think the OSC, the stuff that they do behind the scenes is phenomenal. And they do it out of the goodness of their heart, which you can't buy that. You just can't buy that. So they would remain an integral part of that. We've not sat down officially with them yet, but through our communications, etc. and whatnot, there has been a couple of chats about when we get to the next stage, we will want to sit down with them and fold them into whatever it is we need them to do, and then get their thoughts and opinions on it. They're a massive part of the current setup, and I don't see why that wouldn't continue and grow moving forward.
Great. We talked structure. Going to move on, guys, now to governance. And here's a question we sort of touched on a bit earlier on. So I'll not put the full question in because these boxes are limited to 200 characters. But basically, what it's the intent here is great for your intentions in terms of in the current market looking to take ownership of a hockey club, but what about sustainability, bearing in mind your lack of experience? This person also in the question talks about 3 clubs he was aware of that were taken over and went out of business. So obviously some concern there about sustainability. What's your views on that?
So if I can answer that, Phil, that would be great. Yes, there is a lack of experience in running a hockey club here and with Phil. Of that, there is no doubt. However, we will bring in the right person to run that hockey club. And if they don't get it right, we'll bring in someone better than them to run that hockey club. As far as the sustainability goes, this is key. This is really, really important. This is why the arena deal is vitally important, because the security financially moving forward is in both organisations being intertwined. And that's the way it's going to work. So I don't know these 3 clubs that this person refers to, but so I can't really comment other than to say potentially the guys and girls or whatever that bought them didn't try and run it like a business. So what you've got with Phil and I is a perfect smorgasbord of massive passion and business grit and determination. We will make the difficult decisions. Transparency. See if we get something wrong, I'll put Phil right in front of me and Phil will apologise. Listen, we're not going to get everything right. We're going to get some things wrong. As long as everyone knows that, see, when we get it wrong, I'll apologise. I'll tell you why we got it wrong, and I'll tell you how we're going to fix it next time round. I have no issue doing that. I'm a very much take me as you see me kind of guy. If you don't like it, step aside. I'll tell you how.
Makes a complete sense to me. I mean, Callum S. Phil asked a similar question. So maybe just your views on it. I mean, it's a similar really question about volatility. What assurances can you give us under your own ownership, backings in place to navigate through this, whether that's maybe financial backing or whatever? What's your thoughts on that?
Just touching what the question is, and we're going through a strange time now. Obviously, electricity costs, etc. One of the things we've chatted in depth is we will build the club on success. We have no plans to put the club into any sort of silly levels of debt, because at the end of the day, you don't know what's in the corner. So I was brought up with a sort of view that you don't spend what you haven't got. And it's a good thing. I know it's no ideal way to work in business, but there's also been a bit thrifty. There's no point in going out and spending, talk say £500,000 on a bit of equipment that's going to take 10 years to bring back, or if it's even going to bring back, it might just be an enhancement to a lighting show or something like that. So we'll spend the money where it's required at the time. And we constantly, and that's one of the other things, constantly watching what's going on round about us. Because, you see, every week, every couple of months, whatever, there'll be constantly views, but not so much weekly on financial, but you'll be constantly watching your business and see much more do we need for the next 3 months coming. What's sort of getting put out there? What's going to be an increase? And that's what we need to plan it on. As John says, we kind of comment on other people. They may have been, it could have just been pure bad luck. They may have been good businessmen, but bad luck came into it. Yeah. Sometimes, as I say, the last 2 years says it all. Nobody knew what was coming. There's a lot of good, successful businesses been, unfortunately, no longer with us during that. So our plan is constantly keeping our eye on the ball. And that's the beauty that we'll get 2 years then. There's not just one is. And as John said, we will make mistakes. And again, I've not got a problem putting my hand up and saying I made a mistake. And I always say to people, no, if you make a mistake, what? Nothing wrong with it. We all do it. Let the person who's never made a mistake put their hand up, because that person's not there. So it's all about just working together, trying and say, when we make a mistake, learn from it. That's the big thing. We're all meant to do in life, learn from our mistakes, move forward and improve on the mistake.
As you say, everybody makes mistakes, and sometimes from mistakes and bad times, you learn more from them, going forward. So you take that experience in business or whatever, and you move forward. You got to apologise. If you put your hand up and you apologise, then you move on, and you get respect for that, in my opinion. So talked about the government side. When I move on to sort of investment side, it ties nicely into that. So are your intentions to buy the Clan Arena, and will you up the investment? I think you've already put something out about the intention. You've talked about that, John. It's integral that you have both elements together. Will you up your investment in the team?
Yeah, so I think that I touched on it earlier, and I keep going on about it because I just want to make sure we're crystal clear that it's an all or nothing package for us, and we have to have the arena successful. And that means other things out with hockey as well. As much as the hockey fans won't want to potentially think about that or hear that, the arena has to be a bustling, busy, buzzing place 365 days a year if we can. That means that if that's successful with other sports like tennis or boxing or snooker, and then there's the gig community that can come in and whatnot, what that does is that gives us extra investment to put back into the club. The club has to be sustainable and profitable in its own right, but any extra investment that's required comes initially from us, but then from the success of the club and the arena. Maybe those guys that had struggled with clubs previously and they folded, maybe they didn't have the potential that we have with the arena.
Yeah.
Think about it. I think the Clan play, 30 odd games, 36 games a season in there. I know you've got the Paisley Pirates and various other things, and ice is a massive part of that arena.
Yeah.
But over and above that, the arena can be a massive machine, if you like, that will allow the Clan to be part of that and move on together. So, yeah.
No, that all makes complete and utter sense. Moving on to the next question, and we've sort of touched on that a bit, but interested to know if you'll need more investors, and if so, how many and how much. Again, we're not really there yet. You've said it's really you two guys at the moment trying to get that negotiation, and you'll look to open that up to other investment, other investors, maybe other sponsors, etc. from there. So is that a fair comment, Phil?
It is just now. It's too early days for that. But if we feel that we do need to do it, we will. We've got plenty of people talking to us constantly, and that's the beauty of the fan base of the Clan. As you touched on there, there's so many people out there with so many different skill bases, and they're all saying to me and John, "We want to be part of this. If you need us, give us a shout," and that's a good thing. So you've got a plan B sitting there that you've no one to link for. It hits came to us, and that's the passion for this club.
100%. I mean, moving on, John, this is a number of questions from Forsyth. We've probably answered some of them, but I suppose the one I'm interested in at the bottom is the last one. Where would the sponsor money come from, since the sponsors are funding the team?
I can clear that up very, very easily. I will still be sponsoring the team through my business, regardless of purchase or non-purchase. So when we own the team, I will still potentially not be the title sponsor if someone else has shown a passion for it, but I'll certainly be there as a sponsor. It's not a case of, now that we've invested in buying the club, I wouldn't be putting the money in sponsorship in, because the sponsorship works for my existing business and Phil's as well.
Yeah.
So we can't put any figures on anything, obviously. It's safe to say that we will be investing heavily in this, and I will not be going anywhere as a sponsor once we're in control of the club. And I think Phil's the same.
Exactly the same. You see, the only way me and John's names of our businesses will disappear if somebody says, "No, I'm going to use a big lump of money and it's the good of the club." No problem. We're not that vain that we need to see our names there. But you're not. Yeah. But we turn and say, "No, we'll be there." And keep it. As they say, some people might think, "Oh, right away, you'll apologise and say, no, that was never intention." Sorry, I'm going to take back. We're quite vain because the two of us love seeing money on that ice. And as people notice, it's get bigger and bigger each year as well.
But just where would sponsor money come from, other than, say, us two? Jerry McLaughlin, and I always like to mention him whenever I'm talking, does a phenomenal job, or did a phenomenal job at bringing sponsors in. And that's one man. What you've got moving forward, with or without Jerry, is another two businessmen who know hundreds of other businessmen who we can grab by the throat and bring them into the fold and say, right, you're sponsoring a player this year, or whatever, etc. And I think the sponsorship base will hopefully, with our assistance, grow.
Yeah, it's funny, and I don't like to go back to my team here, but let's just talk about them. They've done a similar thing with the construction guys taking over the club. Mm-hmm. But all of a sudden, you're seeing all these boards round about with other construction companies, and they're firing money in, and there's other sponsorship stuff, and there's networking. So, you call out favours if you've got other business colleagues you can get. I'm sure there's some previous Clan sponsors that would come back as well, that maybe think like this. It's a new start. Let's go back and do what's what as well. So that all makes sense. I want to move on now from investment. Look at the community side. This is a big bit of importance, really, I would say, around the community. And a couple of similar questions, but I'll just take one of them because the other one was along the similar lines. It's really just guaranteeing and getting assurances that if the bid is successful, you'll not forget about the people other than the Clan that use the arena, figure skaters, Paisley Pirates, Glasgow Mustangs. And that's a question from Amy.
Well, I would say that's a clear passion that we will not, and guarantee we will not forget the local community. That's what this is all about. Back to the Clan, the community. And our plan is to grow on that. And they say ice has been something that's been about in Scotland for a while, but especially in this area, and we want to keep it down. We want to get more and more people into it. You know, the other night there, I was at the ice skate with the clan, and it was quite busy, and that was a midweek game. And we want more and more of that. Let's get people learning how to skate, and then they've got a love of the ice. Maybe myself getting taught how to skate, because it's one guy called me one time on Bambi on the ice. You're just looking at how can we do that? We've got, as John says, there are lots of ideas. Get the players to teach people to skate. Lots of things. Get the teams on it. And recently, we've seen a lot more teams actually starting to come out and building up young teams, especially in the west of Scotland, which is great. And we want to get that ice getting used all the time. And the more and more we can, because then we're bringing the sport to the front. It's traditionally up here, we're football, rugby sort of thing. Ice hockey can be that third one. And they say, and when the school kids, etc., bringing in schools, when schools are always looking for days out, etc., bring them to the ice, get them learning to skate at a young age, and suddenly they've got a passion for it. And then they say, Mum, Dad, I want to come to the ice hockey. I want to play ice hockey.
Yeah.
We've really untapped this sport.
No, I totally agree. I mean, there was another question that was too long for the 200 letters or within this, and it's from Clan Pirate. It basically just said the same thing. It basically asked John, have you spoken to any of these other organisations yet? Or is that something you would get to, over time? And because you obviously want these people still involved. They're bringing money in. There's a community there element also, most importantly. But you really need more people rather than less people.
Yeah, totally. So we haven't spoken to any individuals specifically yet, although there's been some messages on social media and whatnot. And I think you've got to try and remember, out of respect for Neil Black and his position at present, we don't really want to we're desperate to speak to these people.
No.
And put the plan in place with them, but we need to be slightly further on than we are. And out of respect for him, I wouldn't want to be having discussions like that behind his back. Safe to say, I echo what Phil mentioned and said. The figure skaters, the Paisley Pirates, Glasgow Mustangs, etc. Everyone that's involved in it, the door is open, and we will be chatting to everyone. And the view is not to close anyone or anything down. In fact, increase it.
No, that makes complete sense. And moving on to fan involvement, which I touched on this a bit in our intro. We've got 4 questions in this. 2 are financial and 2 are about sort of having presence within the boardroom or the management side. So 2 questions I'll flick up here quickly around putting money into the club. Would you consider fan share like you do some football teams where they pay £10 a month? Kathy M asks. A similar question from Tanya. Is there a chance of fans being able to financially contribute, maybe in ways of shares, etc.? I don't know what your thoughts are on that, guys.
I think we kind of touched on it earlier, that the £10 a month, £20, £50, whatever it happens to be, the way the St Mirren model went, is something we would consider looking at in the future. But the governance behind that and the structure behind that is mammoth. Yes. And I don't think that's something we should be considering taking on in the here and now, or else the bid will be successful in 2047. I think we have to concentrate on getting this over the line just now, and then look towards something like that in the future if there's an appetite for it. But that comes down to communication, transparency. We'll talk to the fans, and if that's something that there's a big enough number for, I don't see why we wouldn't consider it.
Yeah, moving on from the financial element, I was involved in a buyout of a football club, a community interest company, which took 4 years to get to the table. Then it was kibosh at the last minute. So I know how much work is involved in this. I know the pros and cons of fan ownership and elements of fan ownership. My personal opinion is we need people like yourselves, investors, who can keep it simple and get in the door and get the ownership of the club, then look to open it up potentially around that. And what Ian's asking there is, would there be an elected fan on board to help you guys get a feel of what the fans are talking about and wanting? You talked about fan forums, Phil, there. And the second question is from Eddie Squires. What about having a few elected fans at the management board meetings, non-paying role, to have a say in where the club direction is going if the takeover is completed?
One of the things that, touching the first question, would we have an elected fan on the board? I would say for certain legal reasons that would be very difficult to say yes to, because it's a company first and foremost. But we have discussed in depth about a management committee, which would involve senior management of the club and the fans, as we touched on earlier. And that is something, because you say week to week, fans will have chats and have ideas, and we want to bring that in. So that would definitely be something that will be there. It's not a case of, we'll meet you once every 6 months and we'll have a sort of thing. No, there'll be a committee there, and it'll be an organised committee that will feed back to everybody. No, I'm not saying that every member of the management will sit in that committee, but there'll be at least 1 to 2 people will sit in there, and then it'll be, here's what it's structured. And we'll actually structure these meetings so that we have a plan, and there'll be minutes of the meetings to get passed around to what we're going to do. And then at the next meeting, we'll do the same as any business meeting. We'll say, the previous minutes, here's what it was, and here's what actions we did. And here's some things we couldn't do for what reasons. Again, transparency, communication. So there will be a real close fan involvement with the management.
That's great to hear. I mean, moving on to communication, and that really follows on nicely to the next couple of questions. And you've probably pretty much answered that, Phil. I think you've been looking at my sheet here before I got to it. But would you hold regular fan forums? Should you be successful in your bid to ensure fans were given more consideration in the future? So it's that fans want to feel that they're more involved and people are listening to them. Really, that's from Carr. So I think you probably answered that.
Sorry, were you looking for me jump in there? I
didn't last. I'm more tongue-tied.
Here's a question from Muzz for you, John. Muzz from Clan B. Loving your communication style already. Moving forward, how would you intend to maintain that?
Well, until the hook comes in and drags me off, I'm more than happy to be in front of a camera or on a podcast or on an interview or whatever. I'm quite opinionated and happy to speak my mind. So no issue with dealing with situations visibly. And I think people quite like it as well. You know, you want to see. I basically put that video out that morning on the basis of what I garnered from reading Twitter for an evening. And it seemed to be everyone was going on about the lack of anybody putting a face to something. Yeah. And I just thought, well, you asked for it, so you're getting it. And then that's when I said to Phil, look, I'm going to do a video this morning. Who knows how that was going to go down? It seemed to go down quite well, which is good. Yeah. So the communication style will remain, as you know, to hark back to these guys who thought we were amateurish, which annoyed Phil more than it annoyed me. Fair play to the guys; they've got their opinion, whatever. I'm happy to talk anytime, and I think we'll keep the communication light-hearted.
Yeah.
But it will be specific and it will be clear and obvious, and we won't be hiding anything.
Yeah, I'm going to give a shout to a couple of podcasts, Clan from the Stands and obviously Good Evening Hockey Fans, or 2 of them. And this is from Ian and Ailey, who are Good Evening Hockey Fans.
Yes.
Mentioned that communication was one of your key priorities. What would your communication strategy look like for the club if you're successful with your bid? And again, you probably touched on that. And much more you can say about fans forums, getting information out, wee videos of John on the way to Costa, things like that.
There's a reason why you guys yourself, Callie, have set these podcasts up, and I would imagine it's because there's a need for engagement and communication. So, you know, if the want of the fans is that they want Phil on a podcast every week, then that's what they'll get.
But
yeah.
As I say, I'm the quiet man, but I'm more than happy, as John says today. We want to do what the fans want us to do. And obviously, time restrictions might say we can't do it every week, but we want to keep in touch. And as you say, the podcasts, the good thing is some people, everybody's got their own view, but the people that are speaking about it because they've got a passion for the game.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's all about, we've all got views, and as I say, me and John are 2 totally different people, but we've got one view here. Success for the clan, and that's the thing. Success for the arena. And that's what it is. So people, hopefully, we can change the minds of people that we're not doing this because we want to hear the sound of our own voices. As I say, when we first looked at this, and somebody might get back and say that it was sort of John and some businessmen, and I was the sort of person that doesn't really come out much to say things. But somebody says might be very, and I'm fine doing that. And no, that's it. People know who I'm. And people say, that's what he says, you're a quiet man, you never shut up.
Yeah, it's nice to be talking about a lot of positive stuff today. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, we do podcasts. The other guys, I can probably speak for them as well. And we want to talk about good things and positive things, but the way things have been going of late, it's been difficult to do that. And you can't really twist stuff. You can't fool folk by making everything positive when there's some issues there. So let's try and hopefully going forward, there'll be a lot more positive things that we can talk about. I want to talk about the arena now. So I'll move on to that section. I got a question here from Alistair about the arena. What plans do you have for the arena if the deal goes through, or when the deal goes through?
I'm just going to paint it all purple. No, I think I touched on it earlier. The plans for the arena are massive. There needs to be investment in the layout and the structure within it. That'll take a bit of time, but as it stands at the moment, it just needs to be utilised better. And they're again, respect where it's due. They're trying their best just now to use the arena as best as they can, given the circumstances that they're in. But we have big plans for the arena. Again, a successful and profitable arena means a successful and profitable hockey club. That's it in a nutshell.
Definitely. I mean, there's a question from Grant. Are there any early plans, ideas for improvements you'd look to make to the arena experience? For example, more entrance, further upgrades to food, drink area. I mean, you've touched on that a wee bit earlier on as well, but obviously one of my frustrations previously as a sponsor was the hospitality section wasn't really great in terms of the setup for hospitality. But I know that the club have tried to do stuff about that, so I'm not knocking what they've been trying to do, but there must be opportunities to try and improve for that experience certainly as well.
That is something that, as you say, we've touched on that a wee bit earlier, but me and John obviously go to the hospitality, and we know we've been to some real fancy hospitality and some real low-key hospitality. And when I say to somebody, the hospitality up here is a burger and a can of lager, but we know there's lots of room for growth there. And to be fair to John says there's Jerry, and that they've been sort of difficult years to try to do something. So what's the plan to increase that? Because the more hospitality experience that we can bring, these are sort of people that are willing to put more money into the club. And you say the food and beverages we spoke about earlier, again, great work has been. There's been a lot of changes in that from Ross in the past year, and they're trying very hard to make difference. And there has been a lot of difference. I'll just touch slightly on the merchandise. I know a lot of people have seen this year. There's been a lot of work done in that, and they have done a great job trying to bring these things at a very difficult time. Any business knows bringing something in to the UK they know is very difficult. So they're working. I don't know, my neighbours are working. It's scary actually to try to do this, and that's back to their commitment. So it's again a team. Back to listen. What do you want? As you touched on, there's the fans asking for experience, food, drink. One of the things that was touched on there was entrances. That's a sort of difficult one because you've got to go by what the arena management want, the shopping centre, and there's strict rules for fire regulations, etc. So it could be looked at maybe just somebody coming in with a different flow system of how things work. And so we will look at all these things because the more we can keep things moving quickly, the better. And that's the same as inside the arena during the games. Different things could happen.
But the right support and structure in place and there, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah,
endless. I wake up in the middle of the night with another idea as to something that we could do. Your question mentions other ice sports as well as hockey. I think nothing is off the table. There could be. We want this to be the place to be, really. Ice hockey and others as well, and I think that's what we need to focus on moving forward.
Yeah, no, that sounds exciting times around the arena, and you see massive opportunities there. I'm not saying the guys there that are currently are not doing that, but they're limited to probably what they can do with further investment. Going back to Ayr again, I know that with the construction background of Ayr, and you'll have contacts yourself, John, they've been able to do a lot of development within the stadium and a social club, etc., just from having contacts to be able to help do these things as well. So that would make a massive difference. I want to move on now to coaching and the players. So there are a number of questions around the coach and the players. So I'll ask this question to yourself, John. Would you keep Malcolm as coach? We've got several questions here. What's your thoughts? This is from Kira.
Thanks for that one, Kira. Much appreciated. would I keep Malcolm as coach? I think out of respect for the fact that I am not Malcolm's boss at present, I will decline to answer that question.
Okay.
Unfortunately, everyone knows I met Malcolm in the summer. I spent a day with him in Florida. I know he's getting a lot of bad press at the moment, but please remember he is a human being at the end of the day as well.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't like to say what is going to happen. By the time we take over, Malcolm might not be there. So.
Yeah, I mean, I've got nothing personal against Malcolm, and I think some of the comments have been over the line. It's all very well saying, look, you don't think somebody should be doing the job, or they've lost 13 games and give an opinion on that. You get that in sport, but I think there's a line you don't cross. And I say I've got nothing personal against Malcolm, but there was several questions asking the way things are at the moment, in terms of...
I get that. I totally get that. And listen, I said I'd be upfront and honest with everyone. 0-14 in any business, in any sport, that's a tough sell. So I'll leave it at that.
Any comment from you, Phil?
I would just say exactly, John. We don't employ Malcolm. It's no position. At the end of the day, we don't know the ins and outs, the setup there, so we can't really comment on it. But just as you say there, we all hurt. We all feel the pain.
Yeah.
But as I say to everybody in here, the only thing you can do is speak to everyone the same way as you might if you spoke to yourself. So some people, they go a bit, maybe they get angry at me. I do understand that. We all do it, but the whole thing that we all grew up, we count to 10 and then say, you've calmed down a wee bit to say some of the things that are said are just a bit over the line and it's unfair. He is a human being, same as we all are. And people, as you say, we put ourselves up for this and people will question us and say things that, well, we're only trying our best and that's all you can ask for anyone.
That's true. Going to move on now to season tickets. A couple of questions that came in here around season tickets, and again, it depends when this takeover comes about. I mean, if it came about this season, potentially, will the season tickets be valid for the rest of the games? Kathy M's asking.
Yes.
And Forsyth 7 is asking, would we see a difference in prices or game tickets? I don't know if it means for this season or in the future. Again, that's probably something you need to review.
Yeah, we would need to, once we get an overall view of the business as such, the ins, the outs, the expenses, the running costs, all that kind of stuff. Once we get a grasp of all of that, then we can work out what certain prices need to be. But we also need to remember, and this is key, no matter what we do, we have to get it right. You just need to look at the playoff weekend, and then the guys backtracked and apologised. Fair play to them. They got it wrong. We need to be very, very, very careful how we price everything, and we want to make it affordable, competitive, and fun.
Yeah, I think it also comes back to communication. I mean, if you're going to put prices up by £2 or £3, tell the fans, like, we're going to do this, but the reason we're doing this is because we can then put a better product on the ice. Don't just change prices and don't actually tell anybody about them. So there has to be such transparency around that. But I don't think anybody will have an issue paying an extra couple of quid for a pint or extra couple of quid on a ticket if they can actually see the benefit of that sold to them, to be honest. There, that's just my own opinion on that. I want to move on to about new season. So you take over the club during this season, for example. We're going to a new season, and I have a bit of gripe with this myself. It's a question from Chris Morris. Feels our pre-season games in prep was a bit short this season and limits our early performance. What are your thoughts on this? Would you consider a longer pre-season with more games? I don't know the background. There was maybe issues why we couldn't have that longer pre-season, but in an ideal world, would you look to have a bit more time for the guys to settle in before the season starts?
I think a lot of that became consolidated because trying to get accommodation, especially west of Scotland, is horrendous now. Okay. So I don't know how much people know about it, but that there's people are going to view flats and it's a bidding war. Whoever puts up the most money that day gets the flat. So such a shortage, and that may have been part of the reason. So a lot of planning has to go into that, and yes, get them players here gelling a bit more. As you say, it was a real rush. We had a rush last year because we didn't have anything till lastminute.com. This year it was a bit of a rush and all. So I don't even think anyone realised what a shortage accommodation there was running in this area. Because universities all came back, and universities have double manned their classes, etc. There's no rooms anywhere, and people are travelling from all over Scotland to come to Glasgow for universities. And I've no spoke to anyone official, but I hear that some universities are saying if you've not got accommodation, we're not going to let you come in. Because at the end of the day, people are sleeping on floors and everything. It's horrendous, but we've got a vast shortage of housing. So that would need something planning, and that would be something that would need to be sort of tied down early pre-season, and say this is when we want to bring the team in and have that.
That's all part of your planning, isn't it? You having that business plan in place to cover all these things and communicating that if there is issues. Actually, there's issues with accommodation, to basically say, like, there's issues with accommodation, that's why we can't really do this. And then everybody accepts that. But if you don't hear anything, people just make assumptions, because I wasn't aware of the accommodation issue. That's not really the market I'm in, but that all makes sense now that you've told me that.
So if we switch back to start, John's got a lot of flats that we can poach. Free of charge, obviously.
Next question.
Moving on, we want to talk about profile now, raising the profile and growing the brand, really. So what do you think could raise our profile with non-hockey fans, and what do you see as the most urgent priority regarding growth? That's from Davey.
I think for me, that's mainstream media profile. And I think that's where I fit in pretty well. My background before property was in media. My wife is in quite high up in media as well. And I know lots of people in the media, as does Jerry, obviously, with his background. And I think if we can put a product and a package together for the mainstream media that's attractive, that gets more likes, etc., then they will cover it more.
Yeah.
But that's about the right people in the right room at the right time. And that's, I think, something I can certainly bring to the table. And that will raise the profile of hockey. I've not met one person that's come along to the hockey that hasn't said, that was brilliant, I would come back and see that. Yeah. Now, I'm a football fan, and I've been to many a football game and walked out and said, I'm never going back ever again. And I've been a part of the Tartan Army since I was 14. And I've seen some dross in my time. The product has to be attractive. It is. Hockey's phenomenal. The atmosphere has to be attractive. It is. The Purple Army are brilliant. If we can tie all of that together with the arena and our marketing, and what a story this is. 2 local, passionate, successful businessmen taking on the hockey club that they love, but running it as a proper, successful business.
Yeah.
Netflix, where are you?
Sounds brilliant. I mean, Phil, here's one for you. How would you plan to fill the arena every game?
As you touched on, get the clan known out there, get the atmosphere, get the excitement out there. And that's down to, say, interaction with schools, with colleges, everything. Knowing that children are busting their parents' chops. We want to go to the ice hockey. So getting everybody, for the whole family, thinking there's something there for us all. And say, we've got a sort of thing with football, etc. But it's not, we've got a different thing here already, a totally different thing. And at a place that the kids are going to be excited, the parents are going to be excited, and we just say everybody wants to come to ice hockey. And we're hoping that it's just constant. As John says there, I've had people in my workplace, my wife is an ice hockey junkie, and we've got the big giant posters in here for the games. She's just constantly badgering at everybody, and the people go say, that was something else. And the other thing that really surprised me was the amount of people we didn't know went to the ice hockey. And as soon as they're in the zone, they start making contact with you, you think, wow, you don't know, so get it out there. And it's actually quite scary that if we say to some people, if you walk through Glasgow and say, do you know, there's an ice hockey team in Glasgow, I bet you 1 in 5 would say no. And we need that out there. And that's what John says, he's the expert on that. Get it out there. Get the press in that, mentioning Glasgow Clan. Get that mascot out there, because as soon as Clangus, you've seen the children fall in love with Clangus.
The Clan's a business. You have to have a marketing strategy.
Yes.
for that as a business.
Yes.
Not just me forcing BBC Scotland Sports Department to cover it, which is one of the first things I'll do. It's about getting a marketing plan and strategy together for out with that as well. People, you said, I bumped into an accountant guy that I know, and if he's watching this, he'll be like, that's me he's talking about. And he had brought his daughter along year past just because he heard it on the radio and went, okay, I'll take her along to that. Season ticket holders this season.
Yeah.
That's what you need. That's what you need.
Yeah, definitely. Game night experience is a big one, in terms of what other things can we do within the arena to make it more exciting. I mean, if a Jerry's bathtub racing was great.
I love that.
So can we get more family entertainment at breaks? Can we make it more entertaining? Can we get bubble hockey like Belfast? Mm-hmm. Jerry's bathtub game there. Just things to get the fun going again, get fans entertained. Mm-hmm. That's from Cafe G.
Phil's going to sing some songs at the break, I think, from now on. Is that right, Phil?
Was that?
You're going to sing some songs during the break now, aren't you, on the ice?
I thought we wanted the arena full. But then the plus to that is the bar will get mobbed.
That's true. Everybody will exit the arena straight to the bar because they'll read a drink.
During the breaks, there's lots of activities going on. That's the sort of thing. Again, listen to fans. What would you like to see there? What would you want? And as I say, the skaters that come on there, I sit and watch the skaters and I take my hat after them. These kids are tremendous skaters. So they come there and do that to entertain the people. And it's great. So we want to grow on that and say, well, what's next? A wee bit of games here and there.
Yes.
Something out. So it's an array of things to get people excited.
Mm-hmm. And I think our chuck up is best in the league, in my opinion, from other ones I've seen around the league.
Yeah. Sorry, I disagree with that. I've been hit with that puck a few times. I think some people need to get
Talking of Clangus, was Crosscheck sponsor like last season. So Crosscheck, let's talk about Crosscheck. Can we get some merch going for us back the bid? Even a t-shirt, Jax is asking.
So this was another one of my middle of the night wild and crazy ideas that I had. I think, again, in order to pay respect to the situation and Neil Black, I think back the bed merch sounds tremendous. But I think we have to just keep that, if things start to go south and move away from us for whatever reason, and we need to galvanise the fans and do a bit of a movement, then I'll be there with my back the bed t-shirt on, but I don't think it'll come to that. Good idea though.
Going to finish off. We're almost done for time, guys. We've got a couple of things to finish off, and probably one of the key questions that came out is, will Clangus remain and will our colour still be purple? I think see Liam Stewart was trying to make us green. So Phil, are we going to keep Clangus and will we still be purple?
I always say that nobody, and you've heard it saying a million times, nobody's bigger than the club. Well, that's a different case with Clangus. Clangus is bigger than the club. Clangus will be there after we're all long gone, and so is the club growing. So yes, Clangus will always be there. And will colour always be purple? Yes, it will. It's our identity, it's our brand. So why would we want to change it? And that's always going to be there.
Comment here really more than a question from David. I think it's a sentiment from a lot of fans I've spoken to. Just want to tell you guys that we're fully behind you in this. Sure, the Purple Army are behind you too. Can see you're good in communication, and that's what was lacking. So best of luck there from David. So just really to wind this up, I really appreciate your time. What's your final comments to the Purple Army, people who are looking at back the bid? What do you have to say to them to get behind this? Phil, first.
I want to say thanks first and foremost for the very kind and supportive words that we get constant. And the Purple Army, they're constantly talking about is etc. backing what we do. I think they know that we are two local businessmen. We're fans, but we're businessmen first and foremost.
Yeah.
And the fans, and our heart is in this. This is not about, we see something that we want to make loads of money. That's not what it's about. It's a successful business, and we're dedicated. And as you touched on a few times, people from a distance buying it, yes, they might put big fancy illusions out there of what they're going to do. Are they really committed? Because the way I would look at it, if somebody wants to come, say, from a different country, and we're going to spend X amount, we're going to do this, well, let's be honest, you're limited in the size of that arena, what you can do. So what is your end game here? What are you looking for? Whereas we're looking for a successful local club. First and foremost, that's what we want to do. Local club, local arena. We're hearts in it, and we're willing to put our minds to it and our money to it, and say we're dedicated to it. So the Purple Army, get behind us. We know you're behind us already, and we thank you, and we'll keep trying the best we can.
And John, final thoughts?
I don't know if there's much I can add to that, Phil. That was from there. Thank you to everyone who's followed us on the social media. Keep sharing stuff and get more and more followers on there. I just want to reiterate that this is a very, very serious moment in our life. This is a big, big thing for us. We are both pretty ruthless business operators, and we will be taking the clan and the arena very seriously, and success and winning is absolutely everything to us. And I just think the combination of the business acumen alongside the passion for the club, we are not just two fans that have decided to take over a club. You know, this is not Ryan Reynolds and his pal. This is John and Phil, who are business people who want to invest and who want to make the whole thing a success. So stick with us. Please continue to support us. I think if we've got the fans on our side, if we've got the local council on our side, we've got Sport Scotland on our side, we've got the shopping centre on our side. If everyone's on our side, then when it comes to chatting to Neil Black further, it means that he will see this is the place to go. And you know what? And I'm going to say this, if I may, Neil Black is going through a hard time just now. He's getting a lot of stick, but that man single-handedly brought ice hockey to Glasgow, and that has to be remembered. Despite the issues people have got with him just now, he had the foresight to bring ice hockey to Glasgow in the form of the clan. And what he's doing now effectively is, if this works, he's given the club, not giving, but you know what I mean, giving the club to the fans.
Yes.
So fair play to him, and I've got a lot of respect for him on that front anyway.
Definitely. Well, it was really been positive chatting to you guys. I think that you've answered all the questions that I had in front of me. I really appreciate your time, and I wish you nothing but success. And hopefully, Back the Bid is the one that gets the go ahead, and we can all move forward to much more positive and better times ahead for the Glasgow Clan. So, thanks, Phil, and thanks, John, for your time. All the best, guys.
Cheers.
Bye bye.
Morning, Clan.
That's all from me, Cal Yorke. Hope you enjoyed that episode. If you did, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and every time I put a video out, you'll get first notification of it. Appreciate your time, and come on, the clan.